That's Jerry Lewis and Ed McMahon for today's football-a-thon that will see 4 WPIAL championship games broadcast for the 4th time on KBL for the 3rd time live.
Well, right now we have a situation where we have 2 outstanding football teams. We have the Riverview Raiders, a team coming into this game the season, going up against the Golden Beavers of Western Beaver. And these are 2 teams looking forward to a game where they will see the running attacks on both sides, making it happen for each squad.
And Riverview won the toss, and they elected to half. Western Beaver gets the opening kickoff, and they take it out to the 32-yard line. So Western Beaver will get the first chance on offense here in the WPIAL Single-A Championship game. Western Beaver has 1 loss on the season. Riverview, a perfect 12-0 coming into today's game. A lot of running in this football game, George, as Western Beaver takes the ball for a carry of 4 yards. That, of course, is Steve Daffert taking the ball for the Western Beaver Golden Beavers. Actually, that was Ryan Mayo with the first carry. That'll set up a 2nd down and 6.
Expect the ball a lot for this Western Beaver club. He's only a sophomore, but they've got 2 sensational sophomores, Ryan Mayo and Phil Darr. Western Beaver's a team that loves to run the ball. You won't see very much passing. They come straight at you, and they just keep the ball on the ground.
And another running play. This one again goes to Ryan Mayo, takes the ball out over the first down.
In the playoffs, John, this team only threw the ball 6 times. Their quarterback, Ryan Prezzuti, is a heck of a runner as well. He doesn't air the ball out very often, but when he does decide to run the ball, he's quite effective. He's run for over 900 yards this season, and he's just another element in a big running attack. As I said, the 2 sophomore backs, Ryan Mayo and Phil Darr. This is a team that doesn't even list a wide receiver in their offensive starting lineup.
Tight end, it is a 3rd down and 2. And again, 3 backs in the backfield, and a penalty's called. Looks like it may be an offside against Riverview. As Riverview comes into the game, as I said, with a perfect record, they are in the WPIAL championship game for the first time in school history. Western Beaver is looking for their first title. And offsides is the call against Riverview.
There you see the starting offense for Western Beaver. As we said, this is a team that runs the ball, and the offensive line is what makes that happen. Chris Kendall, the offensive guard, Russell Foster at guard, and we'll get to the rest of the lineup after this play.
A lot of seniors on that offensive line as we 6. And as we're going to say an awful lot today, another running play, and this one may go for a touchdown. Ryan Prezzuti takes it in from 46, no, not from 46, but from 54 yards out. So we get the first score of the ball game at 10:09 of the first quarter.
Ryan Prezzuti had everybody faked out on this. This is a beautifully executed fake. The handoff to the running back. Here you'll see Prezzuti with the fake right there to number 24, Ryan Mayo. Everybody's faked out. He makes the run right across, and he has nothing but sideline. That's a nicely executed play and just beautifully pulled off.
So Western Beaver scores the opening points, and right now they are going to attempt the point after. Shady side, which is also a very frosty side. And that kick is no good, so it is now 6-0 Western Beaver, 10:09 to go in the first quarter.
That's something that you'll see a lot of in high school football. The extra points are not the automatic extra points you see in college and pro ball. These are always an adventure. And ice on that side, that's going to be tough all day.
It almost makes you want to go for the 2-point conversion on just about every opportunity you have. So it didn't take Western Beaver very long to get themselves onto the scoreboard. Only took 1 minute and 51 seconds. The 54-yard rush by Ryan Prezzuti out of the backfield. Prezzuti coming out of the quarterback position. He's only a junior, so he'll be around for next season. And pretty big at 180 pounds, 6 foot even.
Western Beaver, they came into this game telling everybody they were going to run the ball, and a minute and 40 in, they've already got a 6-0.
Deep for Riverview to take this kickoff, and he won't get his hands on it because it's kicked short out to about the 30-yard line. It's picked up by Fran Shulo, and Shulo's tackled at the 30. Big play there by Ryan Mayo to bring down Shulo. Riverview gets their first opportunity for their offense. And their offense is really a family affair. You've got a pair of brothers in the skill position. Jeff Kappa, number 14, is the quarterback. Jason Kappa starts at the tight end position, and you've also got a pair of Belisarios.
Ball, they like to run the ball, and the Kappa brothers are important in all of that.
And that is Steve Dapra, someone who you will be hearing an awful lot from today for Riverview. Runs right into the middle of the line, maybe gaining a yard.
When the Kappa brothers don't have the ball, Steve Dapra is the man they go to. He has about 1,900 yards on the season, and he's an incredibly effective back, and look for them to give the ball to Dapra throughout the day.
And that came as a gain of 2 yards, so it'll be a 2nd down and 8. This is the defensive unit that Riverview will be going up against. And there are the defensive backs and the linebackers. And this time Kappa is back to pass, and he completes the pass to his brother Jason, but not quite enough for the 1st down as he's stopped at about the 38-yard line.
Now, when the Raiders decide to throw the ball, usually it's a brother combination, as you said, John. Jeff Kappa throws to his brother Jason Kappa, the tight end. He's really the only receiver he's gone to for most of the year. They either hand the ball off to Steve Dapra, the junior tailback, or they throw the ball to Jason Kappa, the senior tight end.
That catch puts Kappa up over 400 yards for the season. This will bring up a 3rd down and 3 from the 38-yard line. Riverview is on their first offensive possession, and they're trailing Western Beaver by a score of 6-0 early in the 1st quarter of the WPIAL Single A Championship game. And this will go as a handoff, but it won't get the 1st down, as Riverview is only able to get the ball up to the 40-yard line. Steve Dapra once again on the carry.
That's close to a 1st down, but I think the spot is not going to give it to them. He got over the 40, but he needed to get out to the 41. That's a tough spot. But it looked like the Western Beaver defense held Dapra. Here you see the handoff. He cuts right across. Doesn't look like he got it, but they're going to bring the sticks out and measure.
And as the sun comes along this field, it'll all melt down, but so far still a little bit chilly. And that is extremely short. It looks like it's about only 3 or 4 inches.
Very close to the 1st down, but it doesn't look like they're going to get it.
Difficult call for Riverview head coach Jacob Kappa, who's related, oddly enough, to Jeff and Jason Kappa. He's their dad. And one of Jake's brothers is also one of his assistant coaches.
Well, I thought you were going to say was former Hollywood legend, screenwriter, and film director Frank Kappa.
Yeah, I think that's Kappa, actually.
Kappa,
so Riverview's going to go for it on 4th down and expect to see the ball go to Steve Dapra. Actually, the quarterback, Jeff Kappa, keeps and gets the 1st down as he gains a couple of yards to keep the Riverview drive alive.
How about that? We're not even midway through the 1st quarter. Riverview decides to go on 4th down. And the quarterback sneak is what does it for them. Jeff Kappa right up the middle. But that's interesting. You don't see that very often in college or pro ball. The ball at your own 40-yard line a few minutes into the 1st quarter, and the team decides to go on 4th down.
Well, you were talking about the kicking game being a problem for the extra points and whatnot, and also the punting game isn't quite where it is for the high schools and the pros either, and a chance, but a good chance taken by Riverview, and now they get back into their normal type of offensive set. They try something off to the right side, and that'll go for a couple of yards as Zach Zrimzek is on the carry, taking the ball out to the 45-yard line. We'll have all 4 championship games for you on KBL today. We've got the double-A game between New Brighton and Jeanette. That's coming up at approximately 2:15. At 5 o'clock, it's the triple-A contest with McGuffey taking on Blackhawk. Blackhawk trying for their 4th straight championship. At 7:45, Upper St. Clair takes on McKeesport. 2nd down now and 8 from the 45-yard line. This may be a passing set, and that's what it appears to be as Kappa looks for his brother, but throws the ball a little bit too long. That'll set up a 3rd down and long, and definitely a passing situation coming up for Riverview now.
Well, there you saw Riverview once again looking to their tight end, Jason Kappa, downfield, but his brother Jeffrey just overthrew him, and that sets up a 3rd down and 8. And you would think this is a situation where they'd want to throw the ball, maybe again to Kappa. They have another sophomore receiver, Ben Erdeljack, who's gotten the ball for them throughout the year. They have gone to him in these situations as well. There's always the chance that they'll try to run the ball with Steve Dapra, who's been their leading rusher.
And don't forget about Charles Belisario coming from the tight end position. So Kappa with a straight drop. He tries to hand off to Dapra, and Dapra fights his way through the line. He gets it out across the 50 to the 49-yard line, but that'll be about 2 yards short of the 1st down. Another 4th down coming up for Riverview.
4th down, 3. There you see Dapper getting the ball again. This turns out to be a pretty good run because it looks as though he's going to be stopped right there by the Western Beaver defense, but he's able to spin off a few tacklers and actually make about 5 yards out of the play, which sets up the 4th down and 3.
So the ball sits at midfield, 4th down and 3, and it looks like the punting unit is going to be coming on for Riverview.
This is Orlando Belisario. He does the kicking and the punting. He's the field goal kicker, the punter.
And that is Jet Tyndall back deep for Western Beaver. Ball bounces at the 20. Tyndall lets it go over his head, picks it up at the 4-yard line, begins to run the ball, and is only able to get 2 or 3 yards before the tough Riverview punt return unit gets down there, headed by Randy Gilbert, the sophomore. And with 5:52 to go in the first quarter, it's Western Beaver on top of Riverview by a score of 6-0. We'll be back with more from Three Rivers Stadium as the WPIAL Championships continue live on KBL. Game between Western Beaver and Riverview, brought to you in part by Eckrich and by Haas's Steak and Sea House. Also Kendall Motor Oil, where you can pour in the protection. By Cameron Coca-Cola since 1889. And by ADELPHIA Communications. Possible new owners of the Pittsburgh Pirates. The owner of ADELPHIA, Mr. John Regas. We certainly wish him and his family well in their bid to become a permanent resident of this facility. So it was a 45-yard punt for Riverview that sets up Western Beaver following a short return. It is now 1st and 10 from the 7-yard line. Western Beaver getting to play on the sunny side of the field. And once again, a handoff for Western Beaver. That'll take the ball up over the 10-yard line. Ryan Mayo, no, excuse me, that is Phil Dar getting the carry. Phil Dar coming in, he's one of the shortest running backs you'll find in the WPIAL. At 5'7" tall, Dar is also a sophomore, gains about 3 yards, setting up a 2nd down and 7.
In Western Beaver's first 2 playoff games, John, against Brentwood and against Fort Cherry, those were the 2 backs that really got the offense moving. They were able to carry the ball for most of the 2 playoff games. Let's see if they go to them again.
And again, the ball goes right up the middle, and this time the ball goes to, again, Phil Dar. So that's consecutive carries on the part of Dar.
Here you see Prizzuti with the straight handoff to Dar right up the middle. You're going to see that a lot. These are 2 sophomores. They're going to be back again next year and the year after. But Mayo and Dar are the 2 backs that really get it done for Western Beaver.
And I think what they do by sending Mayo and Dar up the middle is it really opens up the wide side of the field for Prizzuti, as he was able to score the only touchdown of the game, coming on a 54-yard run. This makes it a 3rd down and 2 now from the 15-yard line. And again, it looks like Riverview may be offside on a 3rd down play.
That's the 2nd time already that Riverview has jumped offside. Prizzuti is a good quarterback, and throughout the playoffs, he was able to get other defenses to jump offside. So this is something that Riverview is going to have to correct, because that's a tough 5 yards on 3rd down.
And there's Western Beaver's playoff activities. They come up with a big win over Brentwood, and that close one over Fort Cherry, winning it by a score of 14-12. For Riverview, that Jefferson Morgan game was very exciting, a 34-28 game that was won in overtime. We'll have a feature on that game coming up at the half. Also, they defeated Rochester, which was the only team to beat Western Beaver, did Riverview, on their way to the championships. So it's a 1st down and 10 after the penalty. Ryan Mayo getting the ball, headed out towards the 30-yard line. He'll be stopped at about the 28, so a big gain there.
And here you're going to see more of the same, just a simple, straightforward handoff right up the middle. The offensive line creates the hole, and Mayo's able to get around a few tackles, and he's able to get a nice gain.
So that'll set up a 2nd down and a long one from the 29-yard line. And there you see it, Mayo with a big hole opened up for him by the Golden Beaver offensive line.
But this is interesting. You're not going to see any wide receivers. Look at that formation. You have 3 people in the backfield. Now you've got somebody going in motion, but again.
And Prizzuti looking for that man in motion. And the ball is almost picked off by Ben Erteljack. That pass was intended
for Brian Harper.
Brian Harper.
That's the senior halfback that he has gone through throughout the year. A good call because up until then he just kept handing the ball off to his backs up the middle. And for the first time today, we saw him going deep. He hung the ball up. It was almost intercepted there. And
so Zrimzek almost gets the interception, but he does block the offensive player from picking up the football. That sets up a 3rd down and a long one. So you can, I would think, have to guess on a running play here, and that's exactly what you get. That goes to Ryan Mayo, and he may just have enough to get the 1st down. Maybe time for a measurement. No, the official calls it the 1st down. So the Western Beaver drive is kept alive.
Looks like Mayo is limping off of the field. There you see his numbers. He's rushed for 845 yards this season, but it looks like he's being hobbled a little bit by a sore ankle. There you see Prizzuti with the handoff. Right off tackle to Mayo. Mayo gets enough, but it looks like in that pile he might have twisted his ankle.
That was Mayo's 4th carry for 19 yards on the afternoon. It's 1st down and 10 from the 31. And Prizzuti with the ball, trying to take it outside. He gets outside, but only for a gain of about a yard or two, as it looked like Riverview may have been expecting that, knowing that Mayo and his inside game was on the sideline.
There you see Prizzuti. He fakes the handoff, and then he's able to, again, a good fake up the middle. He had some of the defense faked out, but good penetration by the Riverview. They were able to spread it out and then gang tackle Prizzuti on the sideline. Prizzuti is Western Beaver's leading rusher, and that's something a little bit strange when your quarterback leads your team in rushing. He's got almost 900 yards on the season, on 97 carries and 19 touchdowns, and look for him throughout the day to continue to run.
And again, it's a running play, and this time it goes to Eric Bratzos, and he doesn't get anywhere, but his forward progress will get him up to about the 35-yard line, but just a tremendous effort by the Riverview defensive unit there.
Well, Riverview's had a good defensive performance 4 times this season with 4 shutouts. They've been able to shut down the run throughout the season. There you see them able to nail Bratzos actually at the line of scrimmage and then push him back. I mean, Riverview is a team that prides itself on defense, and thus far, Western Beaver's been able to surprise a few people by running the ball straight up the gut.
So it's a 3rd down and 6 now from the 35-yard line as we begin to sound a little bit like Fox. 1:41 on the 1st quarter clock. Ryan Prizzuti looking to pass. And Prizzuti's pass is thrown to the 45-yard line. It looks like it may have been intended for Brian Harper, but it was thrown too high. So that'll set up a 4th down and long. 4th down and about 6.
Yeah, when Western Beaver decides to throw the ball, they're much less effective. Prizzuti only threw the ball 65 times this season, only completed 25 of those passes. He's been intercepted once. He got intercepted actually a couple of times in the playoffs. He only threw the ball 6 times in the previous 2 playoff games. And Ryan Prizzuti is known for his running game, but whenever Western Beaver decides to throw, they're not as effective, John.
So the punter for Western Beaver is number 28, Chip Welch, and there are a pair of deep backs for Riverview. And the punt is off, and it'll be taken at the 37-yard line by Fritz Tambura, and Tambura is stopped at the 40. About 1:26 to go in the 1st quarter. Western Beaver on top, 6-0. We'll be back to Three Rivers Stadium with more of the WPIAL Championships live on KBL. And Chip Welch with a 28-yard punt, and that'll put Riverview to the 41-yard line. That's where they will start their 2nd drive. Western Beaver with a 6-0 lead. They scored on their 1st drive, a 54-yard run by Ryan Prizzuti at 10:09 of the 1st quarter. There's Rich Niedvilla, the head coach of Western Beaver, as Western Beaver looks for their first single-A championship since 1983. They played here in 1991 but lost the game. 1st down and 10 now. This is from the 41-yard line on a turning 1st quarter clock. And the pitch back, this is going to be called a fumble, but it is recovered by Riverview. The pitch back was intended for Ben Erdeljak. Erdeljak not able to handle it, but the fumble is able to get recovered by right tackle Jeremy Dudzak. And you'll see it here.
Their Kappa just makes a mistake on the pitch. He doesn't put enough mustard on the pitch, and he forces the fumble, and they're just lucky to recover that ball, because that was really up for anybody. That was taking a couple of bounces, and he was lucky that his offensive line was able to get back.
So that takes the ball back to the 26-yard line. A loss of 15 on the fumble. 2nd down now and 25. and what you would have to think would be a passing down. And Kappa drops straight back. Runs out of the pocket, looks downfield, and that pass is almost intercepted. It was a great defensive play by Western Beaver's Jet Kendall.
Well, Kappa's scrambling on that play. He doesn't see his receiver downfield until the last second. He was covered very well, and then he tried to force a pass in along the sidelines. He's really rolling out to his right, and he's off balance, and he just throws it up there, and he's lucky that ball isn't intercepted because Ben Erdeljack, his receiver, had two men on him, and basically the ball was underthrown because of the position in which he threw it. He was off balance, and he tried to just hurl it up there. That's a mistake, and not a pass you'd like to see your high school quarterback make in a situation like that.
So it's now 3rd down and 25 from the 26-yard line, with Riverview 0 for 2 on 3rd down conversions on the afternoon. Now it's still morning, actually. Kappa is back to pass. Kappa looks over the middle, completes it. Ben Erdeljack, but Erdeljack nowhere near close enough for the first down as he's taken down at the 31-yard line.
Erdeljack's a sophomore who doesn't really get a lot of attention, but he has been Kappa's favorite receiver throughout the year. He runs the ball occasionally, and he's also able to catch it. There you see the replay. Kappa just looking all the way. He really doesn't look off his receiver. He finds Erdeljack underneath for a short drop pass, but the Western Beaver defense is going to give that up every time.
We're through the first quarter. Western Beaver on top by a score of 6-0, and we'll be back with more of the WPIALs from the Three River Stadium on KBL. Okay, on KBL, we'll read the first couple slow until we get them up. The first one is by Chevrolet. Okay, we'll do those later. So for those of you scoring at home, we'll have Billboard B coming up just a bit later.
People are quivering right now just in anticipation.
4th down and 20, and the punting unit is out there for Riverview as we start the second quarter. And it'll be a fair catch taken at the 37-yard line.
Great punt by Orlando Belisario. That was a very, very nice punt.
Beauchamp taking the football.
He got good loft on it and distance, and Western Beaver really didn't have a choice but to call for the fair catch. That was an impressive punt for a high school punter.
32-yard kick for Belisario. Total offense in the first quarter, Western Beaver with 85 yards, all that coming on the ground. Conversely, there's a nice word, Riverview, 11 yards, all of that coming through the air. So it's now 1st down and 10 from the 38. Western Beaver looking to increase their 6-0 lead over Riverview. And again, the running game, this time it goes right up the middle as the ball gets out over the 40-yard line. Ryan Mayo on the carry for the Golden Beaver.
Ryan Mayo carries down to just across the 40-yard line for a pickup of about 2.
So that's a gain of 3, making it 2nd down and 7. Ball just across the 40-yard line.
Mayo back in the game earlier, John. We thought he might be hobbled by the ankle injury, but it doesn't look like it's going to affect him.
And that can only spell trouble for Riverview because it gives Western Beaver that big threat up the middle. This time the ball goes up the middle, but this time it's carried by Phil Darr, the sophomore.
Yeah, the two sophomore backs here, they alternate a lot for Western Beaver. Mayo to Darr, Darr to Mayo. And there you see the handoff right up the middle. Again, nothing fancy about it. Darr's just able to pick up 5 yards, and they're going to take that all day if Riverview isn't able to stop them.
3rd down and 3, and in case you're just tuning in, this is the WPIAL Football Championships coming to you live from Three River Stadium. We've got 10:43 to go in the second quarter. Western Beaver on top of Riverview 6-0 in the single-A game. And again, it looks like it may be another offsides penalty against Riverview. They've had 2 already, both prolonging Western Beaver drives, both coming on 3rd down and short situations. No, this time it goes against Western Beaver. This will be for too much time.
Yeah, that was a delay of game call. I didn't see anybody jump for Riverview, but Western Beaver was just, I think, trying to draw them offside. You're absolutely right. They were trying to once again get them to jump offside and get the encroachment call, but that didn't happen. And good for Riverview. This time they got the 5 yards going the other way.
So it takes the ball back to the 40-yard line, and that'll make it a 3rd down and 8. possible passing situation here for the Golden Beavers, although they're not very well known for that.
Well, you're actually seeing a wideout, Brian Harper for Western Beaver. This is the one time today they've actually gone with a wideout.
Beaver 1 for 2 on third down. Trisuti takes it himself. Trisuti gets close to the first down.
Silly me. I saw the wideout. I thought they actually might pass the ball.
Might be a pass play, but no.
I'll learn. I'll learn.
And we'll have to see where the ball is spotted. Looks like it'll be a little bit short of the first down marker.
That's a well-designed play by Western Beaver because they also had the defense fooled with two defensive backs lining up on the far side. Prezuti's able to go off to the opposite side, and looks like he got about, well, he's about a yard shy of the first down.
So 4th down and 1. Western Beaver decides that it would be a good idea to go for it. Ball sitting on the 47-yard line. You would expect something up the middle, and that's just what you get as Ryan Mayo takes the ball up. He didn't have to get much. And judging from the spot that he's going to get, he'll get just barely enough for the first down.
That's going to be close. I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like he might get it, but that's going to be a very close call. They're going to. No, he's not even bringing the sticks out. He's just going to go ahead and give him the first down.
Well, they have the ball spotted at the 47, and it looked fairly short, and they've got it up almost to the 49-yard line. Actually, it'll be officially spotted at the 48, as it is just barely touching the 48. You know what those little designs are in the Steeler logo?
No, I don't.
They're called hypercycloids.
You've been probably practicing that the whole week, haven't you?
Well, no, it's Ed Bouchette, fine Post-Gazette writer for the Steelers, has that in his new book. There's another rush up the middle
and
by
another
Western Beaver.
And another shameless plug for Pittsburgh sports writer.
You know, get a free book. That's Phil Darr on the carry.
Yeah.
Sure, Joe. We'll give Joe Magno a copy. And there's Phil Darr, who just carried there, carrying the ball 4 yards, making it 2nd down and 6. Darr with 646 yards coming into today's game. And he's got 4 carries for 15 yards on the day, so that would give him 661 for the season. Again, a handoff, and this time it goes to Ryan Mayo. He crosses the 50, getting down to about the 48-yard line.
Western Beaver this time, instead of going straight up the middle, decides to run off tackle. He has 2 lead blockers in front of him, but Riverview does a nice job of penetrating the offensive line, then gang tackling Mayo. Riverview's going to have to be able to do that. I mean, it looks like Western Beaver is just going to continue to run the ball straight up the middle, off to the side, until somebody prevents them. I mean, that's just very interesting for people who just casually channel surfing, and all of a sudden they see an offensive formation with 3 guys in the backfield.
So it's 3rd down and 6, and Trisuti pitches the ball back to Ryan Mayo, and Mayo looks like he's going to get just enough for the first down. So Western Beaver really getting the job done just when they have to, making some big gains on 3rd and 4th down.
Well, there you see Prezuti's. He's very good at the fake. Again, he fakes the ball up the middle. He fools a couple defenders, and then he runs the option, pitches it back. And then that's just a nice piece of individual running, breaking a couple of tackles and refusing to go down until he gets to the first down marker. That's a really very, very fine run.
So Western Beaver with a 6-0 lead over Riverview at 7:54 of the 2nd quarter now has a first down and 10 from the Riverview 41-yard line.
This also chews up the clock for Western Beaver, John. This is an impressive piece of time clock management.
And again, Mayo with the handoff goes off to the right side. He fumbles the football, and it is going to be picked up by Western Beaver. So Mayo almost losing the fumble. Big break is picked up by the Golden Beaver.
Big break there for Western Beaver. Riverview was looking for a turnover or something to jumpstart their team, and this could have been it. There you see the handoff. Mayo just gets stripped of the ball right there. It pops out. Luckily takes a big bounce off to the side of the field where Western Beaver is able to recover.
And Mike Rowan picks up the fumble that was forced by Jeremy Dudzak. So a lucky break for Western Beaver to get the football back. They gain a few yards on the fumble as well. 2nd down and 3 now from the 34. And again, the full house backfield. And Trisuti hands it off to the first man going through. That is Phil Darr, who's going to take it in for the touchdown. So Darr with a big carry, and Western Beaver now up by a score of 12-0. 34 yards on the touchdown for Darr.
That's Phil Dart just getting a hole and going right up the middle. Here you'll see Prizzuti handing the ball off. There's a huge gap created. He just goes right up the middle. They fake out the cameraman. Doesn't matter. Dart goes right up the middle for the touchdown.
So Western Beaver is now going to attempt their second extra point kick. Well, actually, it looks like
no, they're going to go for the two-point conversion, yeah. Just as you said, John, they're going to go for the 2 points because the extra point's not a gimme.
And with the running game that they have in a pitch back to Bratzo, it's actually 2 points. So that'll make the score 14-0 after the two-point conversion as Pursuta pitches it back to Eric Bratzos. Bratzos with a wide-open field to take it in.
That was almost the exact same play they had 3 plays ago where Prizzuti just fakes the handoff up the middle and then is able to run to the option side and then pitch it back. It worked very well just a couple plays ago, and as you see it down near the goal line, once again, he faked out the Riverview offense.
And we've got 7:24 to go second quarter. Western Beaver on top of Riverview 14-0. More from Beaver Stadium on KBL. By Sears Brand Central, the brand you want at the store you trust. By Waynesburg College, where opportunities begin. And by Powerade, the official sports drink of the WPIAL. So Western Beaver now with a 14-0 advantage over Riverview. 69-yard drive there for the Golden Beavers as they build up a 2-touchdown advantage. And again, another relatively short kick. This will be taken at the 21-yard line. That is Ben Ertlejack taking the ball out to the, looks like they're going to mark it at the 35-yard line. So Riverview really in a situation that they're kind of used to.
Yeah, there you see Ben Ertlejack. He's going to be in the backfield right now. Riverview's going to have to try and come back. This is a team that likes to run the ball. And they've used Steve Dapper throughout the year, but now down by 14 points. We'll see if that changes their offensive scheme.
Thus far, this has been a game really dominated by the Western Beaver defense. Riverview has yet to score, and they have yet to put a first down up on the board. So this time, Riverview tries to put the ball right through the middle. And there you see the leading rushers from single A in the WPIAL. Ryan Pursuti with 927 yards going for 20 touchdowns. That's for Western Beaver. Ryan Mayo with 845 yards. Riverview, the big carrier, has been Steve Dapra. He with 1,878 yards on 17 carries. Mike Gordon is handling the graphics for us, and he is doing just as we would like to call it, a swell job.
Oh, he's a swell guy.
And there's another rush for Riverview as they take the ball up across the 41-yard line. It was a second down and about 7. So after the gain of 3, it'll make a 3rd down and 4.
There you see Kappa with the handoff to Dapra. Not a whole lot of running room for Steve Dapra. He's able to break through. The Western Beavers defensive line has been able to contain the offensive formations of Riverview. They've been able to bottle up the middle. Riverview just going to have to be able to create some holes for Steve Dapper if they're going to get back into this game.
And it's a 3rd down and 4, and certainly what you would think to be a passing situation for the Raiders. And Kappa does step back. Kappa is being chased, just about sacked, but he is able to get the pass off. The pass is complete, and it may be just about good enough for the first down as the ball is spotted at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, he throws it off the fullback Justin Graham here. He avoids the sack and is able to get actually a couple of yards out of this. This is just a good job of avoiding tackles by the quarterback. There you see Kappa scrambling. He's almost down. You wonder if he could have been called within the grasp, but he's able to get the ball off.
And Steve Onuska getting the pressure on Jeff Kappa, son of the head football coach of Riverview. Jacob Kappa, brother of the tight end of Riverview, Jason Kappa. Kappa. They could have their own
academic society.
So it will go as a first down, and that is a big step for Riverview. That is their first down of the game. So with 5:39 to go in the first quarter, or rather in the first half, it's Western Beaver on top of Riverview by a score of 14-0. And this time the pitch goes back, and it looked like Golden Beaver really expected that to happen because they got some great penetration from the defensive line.
Oh, Riverview's just lucky that that ball wasn't either fumbled or intercepted. The defensive lineman is in so fast, he almost picks off the pitch. Look at this play. He throws the ball back, and the defensive lineman is almost there at the spot of the ball as the offensive running back is. That's just a very unfortunate play for Riverview. They're lucky that they didn't fumble the ball or get that ball picked off. That was a great play by Western Beaver. That's quickness on the defensive lineman's part.
So a loss of 5 yards on the play. As Riverview may be again forced to pass. Kappa with a quick drop, and Kappa is looking downfield, and that time not quite picked up, but still a fairly good throw to Ben Erdeljak. But some great defensive play down there as well from Western Beavers' Eric Ratsos.
Yeah, Kappa threw the ball over Erdeljak, and he almost came up with a great one-handed grab. There you see Kappa going back. He's looking for Erdeljak the whole way. The ball actually was underthrown there, but over the wrong shoulder. Erdeljak twisted around. He almost makes a nice one-handed grab. If Kappa leads Erdeljak with that pass, though, it looks like he's got 6 points.
Or if Erdeljak had some of that Fred Bolitnikoff stick-em on him. They are the Raiders. He could have pulled that one in.
They don't even know who Fred Bolitnikoff is.
3rd down and 15. And Kappa again looking to throw. He's 3 of 6 on the afternoon. And Kappa's pass a little low. The little go is incomplete. That was intended for his brother Jason Kappa. Sets up a 4th down and 15. And Riverview's offensive problems continuing. 4:36 to go in the second quarter. Western Beaver up by 2 touchdowns in the single A championship game.
I thought Kappa was actually going to run the ball there. He had some open field, and it looked as if he had about 10 yards before Western Beaver was going to actually come after him. They were looking for him to throw that ball, and they were laying off downfield, but he opted to make the throw incomplete. Now Riverview's got a punt.
So Western Beaver, they will send 2 backs to the 30-yard line. And another good kick. This will go a little bit beyond the 30, back to the 29-yard line. As Bo Shaw tries to do something with it, he takes it, and he'll go out of bounds at about the 44-yard line. So a big carry as Western Beaver leads 14-0, 4:23 to go second quarter. Back with more from Three Rivers Stadium on KBL. A lot of throwing.
No, especially on the part of Western Beaver is Ryan Prezzuti. This is a guy who runs the ball very well, doesn't have to air it out very often. When he does, he usually throws it to his halfbacks on the other side of the field. Jeff Kappa, the senior quarterback for Riverview, has thrown the ball more. Probably will have to throw it more today to come back.
So Western Beaver starts this drive from their own 39-yard line, and again it's Phil Dar with a long run. Phil Dar is going to be captured at about the 29-yard line. I'll tell you what, Phil Dar is really making a name for himself today. The sophomore running back doing it again.
Well, Western Beaver just has to run the ball. Riverview's just unable to stop them. They're just going to keep running the ball right up the middle as long as you've got these gaping holes and pickups of 40 and 50 yards on a simple running play up the middle.
And 27 yards on the carry for Phil Dar as he takes the ball down to the Riverview 29-yard line. And Western Beaver looking to really open this team up. They're up 14-0. Just under 4 minutes to go now in the second quarter, but just a tremendous performance thus far by Western Beaver this afternoon.
You saw the numbers there for Dar, and offside again for Riverview. That's the 3rd time in the first half. That's killing them.
And this goes as another offsides penalty.
Looked like a blackout there for Riverview.
And Dar has 6 carries thus far on the day for 76 yards.
Yeah, Dar and Mayo are both getting huge yardage, just running the ball straight up the middle. The offensive line deserves a lot of credit for Western Beaver. They've created some enormous holes that the sophomore running backs have just been able to run through.
The winner of today's game will take on Kennedy Christian next week in the PIAA state playoffs. Kennedy Christian beating Homer Center by a score of 35-20 yesterday. Prezzuti again with the handoff as Western Beaver takes the ball on 1st down and 5 yards to go. Handoff going to Phil Dar once again.
It's remarkable when you think about it. These are sophomore running backs that have basically carried the load for Western Beaver all season. Phil Dar, Ryan Mayo, 2 sophomore backs who are both getting huge holes up the middle and basically taking advantage of it for the Golden Beavers.
And this time it looks like the running back will be stopped just a little bit short of. They've been getting 3, 4, 5 yards at a clip. And again, it's Phil Dar. Phil Dar is going to be up close to 100 yards in this first half. You can see there he's up to 84 already.
Western Beaver just chewing up the clock here in the first half. I'll be interested to see what the time of possession stats are. Our man Bob, the stat man right now, is cringing at the thought of trying to figure this out.
And again, another handoff goes right up the middle for Western Beaver. Phil Dar with the carry, and Thad Picaros thinks there was a fumble on the play, but the referees don't seem to agree with it.
There you see Prezzuti with a simple draw. Handoff right up the middle. This time Riverview's defense able to penetrate and prevent a huge gain. But they weren't able to prevent the first. Well, it's fourth down now.
Fourth down and short. As Western Beaver is 1 for 2 on fourth downs. Ball is just about the 19-yard line. And this seems to be taking a long time, and there may be curious to see if there's going to be enough time to get this play up.
They called a timeout.
They called a timeout, so obviously Richard Needbelow, the head coach of Western Beaver, was thinking much the same we were, that it was taking a little bit too much time for things to develop. Coming up at halftime, we're going to have a review of what had to be one of the most exciting single-A playoff games in quite a while. It's where Riverview defeated Jefferson Morgan in overtime. We'll have that. And also later today, we're going to have 3 more games coming up at 2:15. Jeanette will take on New Brighton. Bob LaCicero and Art Walker with that one for you. Also coming up at 5 o'clock, it's the AAA game, McGuffey and Blackhawk in a rematch of last year's contest. Eric Hagman and Chuck Farrell with that one for you. And coming up at 7:45, it's the Quad A Championship. McKeesport taking on Upper St. Clair. All 4 games coming to you from Three River Stadium. And we'll be here all day to bring you all the football action live. So you can just keep everything set right here on KBL for all the WPIAL championship action. As we told you, Kennedy Christian won in the state playoffs yesterday in single A. The AAA winner, either McGuffey or Blackhawk, will take on Sharon as they beat Lockhaven by a score of 28-7 last night. And in Quad A, the winner between McKeesport and Upper St. Clair will take on Erie Central. Erie Central 48-6 winners last night over Clearfield. Riverview came into this game ranked number 1 in the WPIAL by the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. They've been in that position since week 5, but Western Beaver really coming up big this far as they set up for a 4th down and 1. And again, the handoff to Phil Dar. Phil Dar gets across the 15. Really a touchdown-saving tackle there by Fran Schulo. Because if Schulo didn't get his hands around his ankles, he was gone and in for a touchdown and a possible 21-point lead.
Oh, no question. He had 6 points on that play, if not for the tackle. This is just Western Beaver doing what works. They're going up the middle. They're having their offensive linemen blow off the Riverview defensive linemen, and the running backs are just able to go untouched for 5 and 6 yards a pop.
So clock is down to 1:26. Prezzuti keeps the ball himself, crosses the 10, and he's knocked out of bounds at about the 7. And you got to figure that that's the part of the field that you want to be in right now, because the sun has been there, and it's got to be a heck of a lot warmer than it is as it is in the other end zone. Here's what Western Beaver has been able to do in the championships. 1973 was their first year, and as you can see, they've won it twice. In 1976, the last time in 1983 against Frazier with a 29-14 win.
Let's see if Prezzuti decides to hand the ball off, or if he's just going to scamper around the far end of the field again.
So it's 2nd down and 4, and it is another touchdown. Eric Castro taking the ball in, and Western Beaver now with a 20-0 lead over Riverview. Score coming at 1:15 of the 2nd quarter.
Here you see Prezzuti again. No fake, no pass attempt, nothing. Just straight up the middle. And Bratzos has another huge hole created for him. Here you'll see it again. Bratzos almost brought down by an ankle tackle at the line of scrimmage, but able to get the ball, and once he avoided that tackle, that was it. Now they're going to go for 2.
We're going to go for 2 points once again. Bratzos scored on the previous 2-pointer. And this time Pursuti pitches back to Bratsos on just about the same play. He gets the yardage and he gets the 2 points. Now it's 22-0 in favor of Western Beaver.
Riverview seemed surprised on that play, even though it was almost a replica of the first 2-point conversion that worked for Western Beaver. There's the fake. There's Prizzuti, the pitch back to Bratsos. It looks almost like a replay of the initial 2-point conversion they did earlier in that.
So Eric Bratsos is now accounted for 10 points. Western Beaver is beating Riverview 22-0. We've got a minute and 15 to go in the second quarter of the Single A Championship League. And so far, it's been Western Beaver on offense, and it has also been a very tough Western Beaver defensive unit holding Riverview to just 1 first down through what is practically the entire first half. So again, the kickoff. And basically 2 men deep for Riverview. This one goes more or less down the middle, picked up at the 26-yard line. And Erdeljak takes the ball out to the 36-yard line. And really, this is a position where Riverview just about has to figure out some way to try and get some points on the board, because if you can avoid it at all, you don't want to be down 22-0 going into halftime.
It's going to be very, very tough for Riverview to make something happen here, because they're going to have to go 63 yards in a minute and 5 seconds. They're trailing by 22 points. That takes Steve Dapper, the tailback, out of the game, because you would figure with that kind of a time constraint, they're not going to be able to run the ball. Look for Jeff Kappa just to go and throw the ball downfield. He's got 2 wideouts.
The clock is now under 1 minute, and there's a fumble on the play. I think Jeff Kappa just wasn't able to hang on to the snap. The fumble was picked up by Darrell Deringer.
Well, Kappa's had some trouble throughout the season with fumbles. He's fumbled the ball 7 times. He's recovered 5 of his own fumbles. But there you see once again just the trouble with the center snap. Kappa drops the ball and he's able to recover, but that's a big problem he's had this entire season.
And you're kind of wondering why Riverview isn't calling a timeout or 2 here to try and at least give themselves a chance to set up a long pass play. Kappa looking to pass, throws it right up the middle, but as soon as it's caught, and actually they're going to call it now an incomplete pass.
Yeah, Riverview has 3 timeouts remaining. You've got a minute left to go. They're trailing by 22 points. You would think they're going to try and use those timeouts, throw the ball, maybe even throw a Hail Mary pass, but instead they decide to just basically run out the clock with a short pass here. And he's better off that he didn't catch the ball, because if he catches the ball, and basically they're going to run out the clock.
That was Jason Kappa, but what we have to keep in mind is that these are teams that just do not pass the ball a whole lot. As a timeout has been called on the field by Western Beaver, it's a 3rd down and 10. They're looking to maybe getting a chance to get their hands back on the football with 12 seconds to go. But both these teams run the ball an awful lot, so they probably don't have a whole lot of pass plays within their offensive scheme, so you really can't do a whole lot. And you'll see the opposite of that coming up in today's Double-A game. The Jeanette Jayhawks, they like to run a run and shoot. So if it were a game like this with Jeanette being up on top by a score of 22-0, even with that much time left in the 4th quarter, they would just continue to pass the football, because that is what the offense is geared to do.
Riverview's come from behind, John, the last few weeks. They're able to come from behind, but I don't think they're able to come from behind by 22 points. That's the biggest lead someone's had on them this season. So we'll have to see if they're going to be able to kind of regroup at the half and come back. But they're, as you said, they're a ball control team. They overcame a 13-point deficit against Jefferson Morgan, the game we're going to take a look at the half. But now they're down 22 points, and they've been completely dominated this game. It's not a question of they've had some bad breaks. They've just been they've been humiliated on offense and defense, and Western Beaver has completely overrun them.
Well, if you think about it, though, if Western Beaver can do something here, and if they can do something with the second half kickoff, they have a chance. Jeff Kappa now hands the ball off to Steve Dapper. Dapper's going to be caught up behind the line of scrimmage at about the 31-yard line, and that should go as the final play of the first half. And that is exactly what happens as the clock winds down to 0. And we now are at halftime of the Single-A Championship game. With Jeff Kappa to hand off to Steve Dapper. And Dapper is taken down by Jack Buck. So halftime, Western Beaver leads Riverview 22-0, and we'll be back with our halftime show right after this from Three Rivers State.
And by Kendall Oil. Kendall, pour in the protection. And finally by Cameron Coca-Cola. Always in the game, always Coca-Cola. And finally by ADELPHIA Cable Communications. ADELPHIA, bringing you your cable needs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We get set to start the third quarter. Western Beaver on top by a score of 22-0. Riverview will get their hands on the football first. As Riverview won the toss to open up the game, they elected to defer. Western Beaver chose to receive, and Western Beaver took it in for a touchdown, so Riverview hopes that they can open up the second half in the same manner in which Western Beaver opened up the first half. Brian Pursuti, Phil Dar, and Eric Bratzos all scoring rushing touchdowns for Western Beaver, who hold a 22-0 advantage heading into second half. And there's Richard Niebela as he looks for his first single-A championship since 1983. The kick goes off to the right side, taken at about the 20-yard line, and that is taken by Ben Erdeljak, and he'll be stopped at the 35-yard line. So that is where Riverview will get things started. And really, in just about every game, the opening couple of drives of the second half may be the most important to see what Riverview can do to get their offense on track.
Well, they have 12 minutes here in the third quarter to try and get something. And you would think that they're going to come out passing, but they have set up in the full house backfield once again.
And this will go to Steve Dapra, and Dapra may be stopped for a loss. So it just seems like the Golden Beaver defensive line is getting that penetration.
No, you have to give the credit to the Western Beaver offensive and defensive line. They've been able to penetrate all day, and there you see them gang tackling Steve Dapper once again. They really are the stars of this game. We talked a lot about the running attack by the Golden Beavers, but the offensive and defensive linemen, and they are the same people, because in high school ball you play both positions. You play two positions, offensive and defensive. They have dominated Riverview, at least up until this point.
So Dapper may have lost about a half a yard. It'll be a second down and 10. And again, the handoff goes to Dapper. Dapper breaks through the middle, comes along the left side, and he'll be taken down at the 47-yard line, and possibly a touchdown-saving tackle by Chip Welch.
Looked like Dapper was able to get to the outside, and then he stumbled a little bit at the portion of the field where the ice and the field kind of meet. There's a small layer of ice. There you see him in the sunshine. He gets around to the side of the field, stumbles right about there, and then he's brought down. But a great run by Steve Dapra.
13-yard pickup takes the ball out to the 48, where it will be 1st and 10 for Riverview. And this time, Kappa looks to put the ball in the air. And it looked like the ball just slipped out of his hand. That pass was intended for Ben Erdeljak, but fell way short.
Kappa had all day there. It was a nice fake. He had plenty of time, but he just wasn't able to find anybody downfield, and he's lucky that that ball wasn't intercepted. It was able to get out of bounds because he hung that up in the air, and that very easily could have been an interception by Western Beaver.
And Brian Harper looked like he may have been able to pick up the interception, but he was a good deal out of bounds. That sets up now a second down and 10. Just underway in the second half. Western Beaver on top of Riverview by a score of 22-0. And once again a handoff, and this one goes just about up the middle as Steve Dapra again takes the ball. He crosses midfield, takes it down to the 44-yard line.
Well, Riverview is taking a page from the book of Western Beaver in the first half. They've just been running the ball with Steve Dapra. No secrets, no gimmicks. They're going to give the ball to Dapra and see if he can get them back into the game.
But this is some of the stuff that they were trying in the first half, and it just didn't work for them. So now it's a 3rd down and 1, and Riverview looking for just their third first down of the afternoon. Riverview is 1 for 6 on 3rd down today. Again, the handoff to Dapper. Dapper goes outside, and Dapper, I don't think he made it. In fact, it looks like he may have lost about a half a yard on the play.
It looked like Dapper was going to be able to turn the corner and get the first down. But the defense was able to kind of contain him and then push him back. His forward progress was stopped just about a yard shy of the first down. Good tackling there by number 32 for Western Beaver, and that is Jet Tyndall. Never thought I'd call somebody Jet on the air, but that's Jet Tyndall. At least that's what it says here, if it's not a typo.
So Riverview 1 for 1 on 4th down now with a 4th down and 2, and the pitch back to Dapra. Dapra will get the first down.
Great second effort there by Steve Dapra. It looked like he was going to be stopped again shy of the first down by Brian Harper, but is able to kind of just free himself. Great second effort and gets another yard for the first down. This is a huge first down for Riverview. If they're stopped here, that would have been devastating for their comeback attempt. There you see Kappa with the pitch. Back to Dapra. Dapra's got some daylight, but all of a sudden he's contained by two tacklers from Western Beaver, and he's still able to manage to squirm for an extra yard and get the first down.
So the ball is just touching the 41-yard line. That is the official spot for a first down and 10. And there is an official's timeout right now. Actually, it's a timeout called by the Western Beaver Golden Beavers. And maybe Western Beaver just caught a little bit by surprise by the Riverview offensive force here in the third quarter.
That's something you never see. The high school football coach is actually going out onto the field in the huddle with his team. I mean, usually when you're watching a coach on the sidelines, and Marty Schottenheimer a couple of weeks ago got flagged for getting out of the painted area on the sideline. But this is high school ball, and you'll see this all the time. The high school football coach actually walks off of the sideline onto the field, into the huddle, to talk to his troops out there. And just another quirk which I think makes high school football pretty interesting, and maybe even a little bit more exciting than you're used to seeing.
So Western Beaver trying to figure out how to stop Riverview on what is very easily their longest and most productive drive of the game. There you see the score. Western Beaver on top, 22-0. Western Beaver scoring all 3 of their touchdowns in the first half, all 3 of them on the ground. Ryan Prasuti with a 54-yarder. Dildar with a 34-yarder in the second quarter, followed by an Eric Grazzo 7-yard run. You saw somebody there from New Brighton. He's getting set for the double-A game, which will be coming up at approximately 2:15. New Brighton taking on Jeanette and their run-and-shoot offense. So now Riverview steps up with a first down and 10 from the Western Beaver 41. Kappa back to pass, and Kappa is going to get sacked. So that'll certainly be a big drive.
Sacked by Jack Buck.
Jack Buck in on the sack.
Here you see Kappa. He had 2 wideouts lined up on that side. He was looking their way the entire time, and just great penetration there by Jack Buck.
I guess it's safe to say that Buck was looking for something to the right there. So that'll go as a loss.
Buck was untouched, come straight around the corner, John, and able to just sack Kappa. I guess I should say something profound like Hank Stram would.
Hank Strammy.
Hey, you know, Jack. Well, you know, Jack, the problem you have here is that the offensive line isn't able to stop the penetration by the Beavers.
So that goes as a loss of 6 yards. Kappa again back to pass. Kappa looking downfield, but just not thrown into the area that Ben Erteljack was expecting it. And also a pretty good defensive play there by Jet Tyndall. So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 16. And while the penalties have been a problem for Riverview when they're on defense, they're just not able to move the ball offensively, and really getting sacked there what may have been one of their biggest problems to overcome. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 16.
No, the sack by Jack Buck was a big play there. That put them in a 2nd and 16 situation. Everybody in the stadium knew they were going to try and pass the ball. Now it's 3rd and 16.
Much like it is now, where you would certainly expect a pass. And so they decide to run. Steve Dapper fumbles the football, and that fumble is picked up by Jet Tyndall. Tyndall is taken down at the 37-yard line. So Western Beaver, they get the ball back, and they get the ball back in great field position.
That's an amazing call. I can't understand 3rd and 16. The handoff. There it is to Steve Dapper. He fumbles the ball. As you said, picked up by Jet Tyndall. And as I said earlier, this has been a problem for Dapper. He fumbled 6 times on the season. There you see once again the ball stripped. Tyndall's able to pick it up. And Western Beaver, in dramatic fashion, stops Riverview's first and best drive of the day.
Fumble forced by Jack Buck. The Western Beaver Golden Beavers get the ball at the 38-yard line. Running play takes it inside the 35 by Eric Grazzo.
Jack Buck is everywhere today.
He's doing it on offense.
He's
doing it on defense. 7:10 to go in the third quarter. Western Beaver looking to increase their 22-0 lead over the Riverview Raiders. Raiders having just a very difficult time today, and they'll need a performance much like they had against Jefferson Morgan We saw that at halftime if they were to get back into this football game. Gain of 4 makes it 2nd down and 6 from the 34-yard line. And again, 3 running backs in the backfield. Ryan Pursuti decides to take it himself, and he should have the first down as he gets down to the 27-yard line.
Good play call there by the Western Beaver offense. There you see Pursuti just basically running the ball off tackle. If he wouldn't have run into his own man, he might have even had 6 points on that. He had a lot of open terrain in front of him.
And really a great play call on that, because the
really
running backs that were behind Pursuti went to the left side. Pursuti went right up the right side and really just about fooled everyone. So it is a first down and 10 from the 27-yard line. And there's Phil Darr taking the ball down across the 25. Should be stopped at the 23. And now Western Beaver, it seems like they may have worn down the Riverview defensive unit, because they're able to get 4 and 5 yards on just about every running play.
Well, you got to imagine that the Raiders are a little bit demoralized right now. They came off the opening drive of the second half. They were down to about the 40-yard line of Western Beaver, then a big sack by Jack Buck, and then the fumble by Steve Dapra. And all of a sudden now it's back the other way, and Western Beaver's just chewing up the clock, keeping the ball on the ground right up the middle.
And so a 2nd down and 6 after the 4-yard gain. This time the ball goes to Bratsos. Bratsos gets across the 20 down to the 10. And the Western Beaver offensive unit just keeps on rolling along.
Yeah, it doesn't take nuclear scientists to figure out what's going to happen here. Western Beaver just with the handoff up the middle. Offensive line creates these huge holes, and the running backs just go through them.
So he takes it down to the 9-yard line, where it is 1st and goal after a 13-yard gain.
The handoff there is to Eric Bratsos. He's having a whale of a game, and really the Western Beaver starting lineup had Bratsos as halfback, Brian Harper is another halfback, the senior, Ryan Mayo and Phil Darr as the sophomore running backs. This is a team loaded at running back.
And this time the ball goes once again to Phil Darr. Remember, John Parado told us that Ryan Mayo had a sprained wrist, and he's not in there, but it doesn't really look like they need him.
No, they haven't missed a beat. There you see the offensive line once again creating these giant holes. That offensive line is amazing. They're just blowing Riverview right off of the line of scrimmage. And if it's Phil Darr or Eric Bratsos, both of them just basically running straight ahead, seeing a lot of daylight.
3rd quarter clock now down to 4:45. 2nd and goal from the 2. Western Beaver looking to increase their 22-0 lead over Riverview. There's Phil Darr trying to get himself into the end zone. And it looks like he'll be stopped at about the 1-foot line. Phil Darr, prior to that play, 12 carries, 96 yards.
Here you see on the replay again, Pursuti with the handoff right up the middle. This time the Riverview defense is able to stand them up at the goal line, and 3rd and 1.
Oh, 3rd and a lot less than 1. It looks like 3rd and a 3rd.
I'm just reading the scoreboard. It says 3rd and 1. It doesn't say 3rd and a half a yard.
They don't do those fractions.
No, they should, though. Or at least go metric.
3rd and .333. And Ryan Pursuti is going to take it in for the touchdown. So at 3:56, Western Beaver increases its lead to 28-0. So Western Beaver will come out, and we'll see what they're going to do.
This time, Pursuti himself just takes it right off the center. Again, he's got room, and he just takes it in for the touchdown himself.
So that is Pursuti's 2nd touchdown of the afternoon, certainly a lot shorter than his first. This one going for 1 yard. His first one in the 1st quarter going for 54, and going for it for a 2-point conversion is Western Beaver. Pursuti tries to throw it this time, and that pass is incomplete. The pass was intended,
I think, to Brian Harper there.
So we're at 28-0. Western Beaver leading Riverview. 3:56 to go, 3rd quarter. We'll be back with more of today's Single A Championship on KBL. They've scored 4 touchdowns. They've missed 2 extra point attempts. One of them a kick, one of them a 2-point conversion. But they made the other 2 to make their score 28. Riverview has had trouble just getting the ball across the 50-yard line.
And they've thrown for no yards. All of the points have come on the ground.
And Ben Erteljack again taking the kickoff, and he'll be taken down at the 24-yard line. So this is where Riverview will start their second drive of the second half.
Am I wrong? Have they thrown for any yardage at all? Zero.
I thought Kappa may have completed a pass.
Western Beaver leads 28-0, and they have thrown the ball for 0 yards. But that's not a really huge, I mean, it's a stunning statistic, but it's not a big surprise.
Yeah, but I got to think that for Sudi, what are his numbers right now? He was only 0 for 2 in the first half. He didn't even complete a pass in the first half. So really, a game played, and for Sudi still at that, hasn't tried a pass in this first 7 minutes of the second half. Phil Dar, he takes that one up the middle, and he takes it down to the 40-yard line.
There you see Steve Daffra, once again, the running back who's got 1,900 yards on the season for Riverview. He gets some running room up the middle, and actually, thus far in the third quarter, Steve Daffra's been effective. They've been able to run the ball with him. Just a question whether there's enough time for them to make anything happen.
12 carries for 44 yards has Daffra.
I mean, these are plays that are chewing up 30 and 40 seconds each shot, and you just can't come back from a 28-0 deficit if you're going to keep the ball on the ground and chew up the clock the way they are. But that's Riverview, as you said earlier, John, that's Riverview's game plan. They don't really have a big passing attack. They are a team that likes to run the ball, and Steve Daffra's been their man, and it's going to be hard for them to break out of that system. So
Daffra picks up another couple of yards on that play, making it 2nd down and 8. Ball is at the 42-yard line. Clock turning towards 2.5 minutes left, third quarter. And it looked like there was a mix-up in the backfield as Kappa tried to hand off to Daffra, but it looked like the play just didn't have enough time to develop. So Daffra loses 2, possibly 3 yards.
There you see Kappa. Looked like he wasn't sure which of the running backs. That might have been a misassignment on the part of his running backs, as it looked like number 30 for Riverview, Justin Graham, was expecting the handoff to go to him. And then instead it went to Daffra. And Kappa is faced with another 3rd down and long yardage.
3rd down and 9 to be more precise. Ball sitting at the 41-yard line. Western Beaver with a 28-0 advantage. Western Beaver looking like they're going to win their 2nd championship since 1983. Kappa keeps the football himself, and then he fumbles it at the 45-yard line. And it looks like it may very well.
Yeah, it's going to Western Beaver. That's a big play by Western Beaver. Once again, just as they're starting to generate a little bit of offense on the part of Riverview, here you see Kappa. Oh, he's got the ball out there. He's not even really protecting it. Shoulder right on the ball, and then recovered by Western Beaver.
And it looks like Steve Mitchell is going to be credited with the fumble recovery. 4 fumbles and 2 of them lost for Riverview. Western Beaver takes over 1st and 10 at the Riverview 45-yard line.
What do you think they'll do right here? You think they're going to pass the ball?
I think a run might be in order,
I think so.
1st down and 10.
Gee, can we figure out the next play, folks?
I think we can, and I think Eric Bratzos can too, as he takes it 5 yards down to the 40. So Western Beaver looking like they're going to be getting their way into the state championships. It will be the state semifinals played next Friday and Saturday at varied locations across the Commonwealth.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about this running attack by Western Beaver, but their defense has not gotten the same kind of attention, and thus far they've been as much of the show as anybody. They've been able to shut out Riverview, and it looks like they're just going to continue to just dominate the line of scrimmage.
And again, 3 backs in the backfield. This time it goes to Phil Dar, and Phil Dar crosses the 40, taking it down to the 41-yard line. That'll set up a 3rd down and short.
Here you see the handoff to Dar. He's been doing it all day. This time Riverview able to shut off the hole pretty well, setting up the 3rd down and 2.
And that carry puts Dar up to the 100-yard mark. 34 of those coming on a 2nd quarter touchdown run that helped put Western Beaver up by a score of 14-0. 3rd down and 2. And again, the ball goes to Bratzos, and Bratzos doesn't look like he quite got far enough for the 1st down, but you can just about guess that the Golden Beavers will go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, they've been going for it on 4th down throughout the entire game. I'd expect to see it happen here.
We'll be back with the 4th quarter. Western Beaver leading 28-0. WPIAL football on KBL. Western Beaver just decides to take the ball right up the middle. And it's Ryan Pursuti with the football. He takes it on 4th down and 1, picks up the 1st down.
Western Beaver has been going on 4th down all day. They do it again, and they get another 1st down.
And really, I don't think there was any surprise to that. And really, just a heck of a job being done by Western Beaver's offensive line. They've just been able to open up the holes, and you would think that when you would just about know that one of 4 guys is going to get the football, that you could figure out some way to stop it. This time again, Pursuti keeps it himself, and he may have lost a yard on the play. Pursuti trying a run around the left end, much like he did on his first touchdown run. That went for 54 yards in the 1st quarter. Pursuti with 8 carries for 78 yards. So again, and Pursuti looks like he may be limping off right.
Yeah, Pursuti coming off the field. Looks like he's hobbled by a sore knee or ankle.
So they've got a couple of other quarterbacks listed. Number 8, Lucas Hill. He's a sophomore. And number 9, Bo Shaw, who is the senior. So we'll have to see who comes in to take Pursuiti's place.
Looks like Bo Shaw is coming into the game. Shaw is a senior who has thrown a few times this season. He also threw a few times in the playoffs.
So Bo Shaw with a long 2nd down and 10. And again, just the handoff. This time it goes to Phil Dar as he takes it down to the 29-yard line. So things just really continue to work for Western Beaver. The offense keeps going along, and here you'll see the handoff to Phil Dar. Dar makes a couple of moves to the inside before he's taken down. So it'll bring up a 3rd down and 5 after the gain of 5 yards.
Shaw's only thrown the ball 5 times this season as the backup quarterback, but with the Western Beaver offense, it really doesn't matter. All he has to do is hand off the ball to his running backs and watch them go up the middle for 5 or 6 yards a pop.
And we'll see what that penalty's all about. It looked like it's something in the middle of the lines.
Motion probably against Western Beaver.
It's hard to get that snap count down sometimes when a new quarterback comes in. Actually, it's offsides against Riverview. So that'll make it just about a 1st down.
Yeah, that's what, their 4th or 5th offsides penalty today. They've been hurting themselves with penalties. That's their 4th one today. That's got to drive the coaches a little bit crazy there because they're just giving up yardage in crucial situations.
So that'll take it from a 3rd down and 5 to about a 3rd down and a half.
And they're celebrating right now in Beaver County. Oh, my.
Jumping up and down. 2 for 6 on 3rd down is Western Beaver, but more importantly is what they've been able to do on 4th down. They've been just about perfect there. This is a 3rd down and short, 2 for 2 on 4th down. And Bo Shaw keeps it himself. Shaw gets down to about the 21-yard line. So Western Beaver hangs onto the football as the clock approaches the 10-minute mark in the 4th quarter. Western Beaver getting set for what looks like a trip to the PIAA championships next week.
It's funny, Western Beaver keeps playing the Notre Dame fight song whenever there's a break. When we were at the half, they played it. Earlier in the game, they played it. But actually, I don't see Notre Dame blow a team away like this season yet.
It hadn't happened this year, I'll tell you. And they've got a big one coming up tonight. They're playing the other USC team out in Southern California. So again, the full house backfield. And again, Bo Shaw at quarterback for Ryan Pursuti. Bo Shaw keeps it himself. And he's still going.
He's like the ever-ready battery. He just keeps going. No, this is just an impressive display of drive and grit by the Western Beaver team, leading 28-0, 9 minutes, 26 seconds to go. And they're not surprising anybody. They're just handing the ball off up the middle. And there you see it.
We were talking about that. The run-and-shoot offense of Jeanette taking on New Brighton. That is coming up at 2:15. Bob LaCicero and Art Walker with all the action for you here on KBL. So Ryan Pursuti back in at quarterback now as he hands the ball off to Eric Bratzos. Bratzos takes it down across the 10, down to what looks like the 7-yard line.
There you see Pursuti back in the game, hands the ball off to Eric Bratzos. He's been effective all day. And they changed it up a little bit. Instead of going straight up the middle, they decided to go off tackle, and Brazos able to pick up about 10 yards on the carry.
So that's got the ball inside the 10. It's now a 1st and goal from the 9-yard line. And again, a handoff goes to the deep back. This is Brazos, and he'll be forced out of bounds at the 5.
And Ryan Prizzuti now is going to talk to his coach. You'll see the replay here. And the handoff to Brazos. Brazos tries to go around the side, and he's just brought down. I think Ryan Prizzuti is saying, please, 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 coach, let me throw the ball once. Come on, let me try to throw a touchdown. And the coach is saying, not on your life.
And some big numbers here. If you take a look at the yards per carry for Western Beaver, Ryan Prizzuti almost 10 at 9.8. Eric Brazos at 6. Phil Dar at 7. So just some big plays here by Western Beaver and their running game this afternoon.
Flag on the field.
Might be for too much time.
No, the Western Beaver players are clapping.
Offsides against Riverview.
Again against Riverview.
That's the 2nd time they've done that on this drive.
5th time today.
So that'll take the ball half the distance to the goal line, just outside the 3. So this will be just about the same area where Western Beaver has tried 3 two-point conversions.
Yeah, this is a gloomy day for Riverview. Everything that could have gone wrong in this game did for them, including the penalties. 5 offsides calls, none against Western Beaver. And this sets up a 2nd and goal at the 2. What do you think, Prizzuti?
I think it's going to be Phil Dar. So Phil Dar takes it in those 3 yards for the touchdown. So 8:27 to go. It's now Western Beaver on top by a score of 34-0. Phil Dar with his 2nd touchdown.
The prescience of John Duffy. As Phil Dar gets it right up the middle, and once again, right off center. Center Mike Rowan has been a stalwart, the senior center for Western Beaver. And they've been going right up the middle all day, and Mike Rowan has done a tremendous job on offense, on the offensive line for the Western Beaver Golden Beavers. There they go for 2 points.
And Phil Dar, or Ryan Prizzuti, it looked like he handed it off to Dar, but regardless, it doesn't go. So with 8:27 to go in the game, it's now Western Beaver leading 34-0 over Riverview. And we'll be back with more of the Single A Championship on KBL right after this. And it's taken at the 25, and the ball is carried up to the 30-yard line by Fritz Tambura. Tackle made there by Western Beavers' Jesse Lashock. So Riverview now trying to see if they can put some points on the board. They begin this drive at their own 30-yard line. Riverview has had trouble moving the ball all day, and defensively they've had trouble stopping the ball from being moved all day. Jeff Kappa still in at quarterback. Handoff goes to Steve Dapra, and Dapra is taken out at off the 28-yard line by Chris Tyndall.
Kappa still handing the ball off to Dapra. That's been the formula for them this season. Even though they're down by 34 points, they're not passing the ball. A little bit surprising. You'd think they would be throwing the bomb on every play, but they've decided to stay on the ground. And that's fine by Western Beaver, because that just makes the clock run a little bit faster.
And Dapra being held to 45 yards on 15 carries. Riverview is in their first championship game in Single A. Western Beaver, of course, looking for their first championship win since 1983. And Kappa goes back to pass, almost falls down. And this time it's intercepted. And it's going to be taken into the end zone by Brian Harper. So Brian Harper with a 28-yard interception return as Western Beaver scores their first non-rushing touchdown of the afternoon.
Here you see Kappa. He decides to roll out. He stumbles a little bit right there. Tries to force the ball right in there. His receiver goes down. And nothing but end zone for Brian Harper. He takes it in. There you see him try to force the pass in. His receiver, number 80, slips. Charles Belisario slips on the ice. Harper goes in, and that's just been the kind of day it's been for Western Beaver. But now one of the more exciting plays in high school football, the extra point.
The Western Beaver is going to attempt the kick. Chip Welch in kick formation for Western Beaver. And that is backup quarterback Bo Shaw with the hold. Western Beaver is 0 for 1 trying to kick extra points today.
This is a thrill.
But they haven't really needed the extra points. And a flag on the play, so we'll have to see if that will affect the call. The kick either being good or no good. It may be another offsides call against Riverview. And that is the call, so that'll bring the ball in a yard and a half closer. And may get them to think about maybe going for 2 points, but it looks like the kicking unit is going to stay out there and just move up about a half a yard or so.
Chip Welch's family right now on pins and needles back home watching this. This is a chance for an extra point.
If they are, they're one of the few, I'll tell you that much. 7:08 to go. Western Beaver looking to make it 41 to nothing. The snap, the hold, and another penalty.
They're not going to give Welch a chance. This is a strategy to get the ball as close to the goal as possible.
How big a thrill do you think that is for Chip Welch to be kicking into that end zone and seeing Steelers on the bottom part of that goalpost? That's got to be pretty exciting. Another offsides call against Riverview.
That gives them 7. The magnificent 7. They're gonna bring the ball now. They're gonna get it to what, about the 1 yard line? They're gonna give Chip Welch another chance.
No, actually, they may not be. There goes Chip Welch off.
Oh, jeez.
So now nobody's on pins and needles. So that'll bring up a 2-point conversion attempt. Brian Pursuti with the normal suspects in the backfield along with him. Pursuti hands off to Bratsos. Bratsos takes it in. So now it's 42 to nothing. Western Beaver leading Riverview. We've got 7 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. These are the 1994 WPIAL Football Championships, broadcast live on KBL. And here's another look at the 2-point conversion. Eric Bratsos taking it in for the 3rd time for 2 points. And looks just like one of your run-of-the-mill running plays. A good block there by Brian Harper, who took in the interception for the touchdown. Kickoff is taken at the 24-yard line. Ben Erdeljak stopped at the 34. So Riverview down 42 to nothing with 7:02 to go in the fourth quarter. You know, we had a pretty good week in the Riverview School District earlier this year. It's been a week in June. Oakmont is part of the Riverview School District. And just say hello to all the volunteers who are out there helping us out in our coverage of the United States Men's Open Golf Championship as Western Beaver calls a timeout with 6:55 to go in the fourth quarter. Western Beaver, the Golden Beavers, up by a score of 42 to nothing.
Lots of groans right now from the Riverview fans who are seated on the wrong side of Three River Stadium. They're right below us here where there's no sunshine. These poor people are freezing. But on the opposite side, there's nothing but sunshine. Those people are basking right now in the sunshine and the glory of a single-A championship. There you can see the division here.
And
nothing's gone right for Riverview.
B. WPIAL Championship Football brought to you by Chevrolet. Your local Chevy Geo dealers are proud to sponsor WPIAL Football on KBL. And by Sears Brand Central, the brands you want at the store you trust. By Waynesburg College, where opportunities begin. And by Powerade, the official sports drink of the WPIAL. So it's 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. As Riverview puts a new quarterback in there, that is Orlando Belisario, and he appears to have trouble with the fumble, with the snap, may have fumbled it. Tackled by Kevin Hoffman. So we're going to see a lot of names from this point out that I don't think you're familiar with seeing the rest of the game. And there you see Belisario just having trouble hanging on to the football. Much like Jeff Kappa, Belisario also has a brother playing offense for the Raiders. He is Charles Belisario playing at tight end.
It's a great opportunity for some of these kids who might not be able to see some action in a big game like this.
And that time the pitch goes back to Fritz Tambura. And what it appears now is that Jacob Kappa is going to let some of his non-starters get some playing time today. And if nothing else, at least get to say that they got to play on the turf at Three River Stadium. Some may call it the frozen turf.
Yeah, some may.
Some may, not me. But part of it, you can still see the frost on the field from last night.
Yeah, my eyes are going crazy right now. We've got half the field covered with frost, the other half covered with sunshine. Need all kinds of shoes to be able to run on
about 4 yards, making it 3rd down and 14. Belisario keeps it himself, and he'll be tackled inside the 30-yard line at either the 28 or the 29. Don't forget to stay tuned. We will have some post-game responses for you. Western Beaver ought to be extremely happy. Riverview, on the other hand, they'll be and we'll have some WPIAL memories. And there you see some of the folks. Really not a home field advantage today for the home teams because, as you said, the home teams are in the shaded area. You might remember when Bill Cowher took over as Steelers head coach, he moved the Steeler bench to the other side of the field, and he got tongue-lashed for that, so they're not doing that anymore. Punt team out for Riverview, and no one back for Western Beaver, so that thing could become a WPIAL record. But it will be stopped and touched at what looks to be the 6-yard line. And there you see Jason Kappa trying to get some more yardage on the punt. 4:42 to go, 4th quarter. Western Beaver on top of Riverview, 42-0. More WPIAL football coming up on KBL. This time the ball is handed off to Joe Olash. Joe Olash may have lost yards, but he made friends here because he stayed in bounds.
Yeah, he's made a couple right up here in the broadcast booth where it's a little bit chilly with the windows open to try and bring in that fine, natural ambient sound.
And there ain't nothing like ambient sound.
As long as he keeps the ball in play.
So that'll be a loss of about 7. It sets up a 3rd down and 17 now.
But as you said before, John, the next game will actually showcase a team that likes to pass the ball. The run-and-shoot offense, which is a rarity in high school football.
And really, the only strong passing team of the 8 teams that made it here to Three River Stadium today. And again, the handoff, this will go out to about the 16-yard line as the clock approaches 2 minutes to go in the football game.
Shepard with the carry there. Horace Shepard, the junior junior halfback out of Western Beaver, getting a chance to play with the Golden Beavers leading 42-0. There you see the score, 1:43 to go in the game. Western Beaver dominating from start to finish here this afternoon at Three River Stadium.
So it's a 4th down and 14 from the 15. Western Beaver is going to punt the football. And Riverview with 2 backs deep, standing at about their own 50-yard line. Here comes Chip Welch. If that pins and needles things is working now. And that is a fair catch called by Ben Erdeljak at the 42-yard line. So if you're Jake Kappa, coach of Riverview, what do you do here? Do you try to put some points on the board, or do you just...
I think so. I think you try to at least break the shutout, give your kids an opportunity to get 1 touchdown on the board if you can. But it looks like he's going to have the backup quarterback, Orlando Belisario, come in. Belisario also the field goal kicker and the punter. Only in high school football do you see all that.
And we will have interviews live from the field following today's game. Lisa Burns getting set up for our post-game activities. As the clock approaches 1 minute to go, that was Frank Tambura on the carry. 1 minute.
It looks like I was wrong. We're just going to basically run the clock out.
Maybe hope that somebody's able to slip through the line and take it all the way, but just basically say it was a good battle.
Well, a heck of a season for Riverview. Don't take anything away from the Raiders. They had a 12-0 season. They got here to the championship for the first time in their school history. They've got a lot to be proud of. Those kids shouldn't hold their heads after today's game.
And Belisario keeps it, looks to pitch back, keeps the football himself, and fumbles it backwards.
You just have to give a lot of credit to Western Beaver.
Fumble recovered by Fritz Tamburo.
This was a outstanding effort by the offense and by the defense. Western Beaver, a team that came into this game. They haven't won the WPIAL championship since '83. And they left no doubts today about who's the best team in the single-A conference in the Western PIAL. And that's it.
The final seconds have ticked off the clock. Congratulations to Western Beaver, the Golden Beavers, single-A champions of the WPIAL with a 42-0